Picture this. You're running on a treadmill with a piece of fruit dangling just out of reach. You think, if I run a little faster, I'll get it. But no matter how hard you try, the fruit stays just beyond your grasp. By the end, you're exhausted, frustrated, and still empty-handed. This metaphor captures a feeling many of us experience daily, the endless pursuit of something that always seems unattainable. Buddhism's second noble truth challenges us to confront this cycle head-on. It teaches that the root of human suffering lies in our constant craving, our attachment to things, people, and ideas. In today's world, this message is profoundly relevant as we live in an era of chronic dissatisfaction and the relentless promise that more is always better. In this article, we'll dive into the second noble truth, explore its historical context, draw comparisons with other philosophical traditions, and reflect on how we can apply its wisdom to lead more mindful and fulfilling lives. To understand the second noble truth, we must step back in time to the life of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. Over 2,500 years ago, he lived in ancient India, a time of significant social and philosophical upheaval. Various spiritual traditions, including Jainism and Hinduism, offered explanations for human suffering, often rooted in concepts like karma and reincarnation. Many of these traditions advocated extreme practices, such as severe asceticism, as a way to escape the cycle of rebirth. Siddhartha was born into a royal family, surrounded by luxury and privilege. His father believed that shielding him from all pain and suffering would secure his happiness. However, this protective bubble began to crack as Siddhartha ventured outside the palace as an adult and encountered the harsh realities of life, aging, illness, and death. Witnessing these universal truths profoundly shook him, leading to a deep existential crisis. This turning point in Siddhartha's life parallels the identity crises many of us face today. Like the young prince, we often grow up in social bubbles, surrounded by ideals of consumerism and superficial happiness. Yet, sooner or later, an event, a loss, a disappointment, or even a creeping sense of existential boredom forces us to question what truly matters. Siddhartha left his comfortable life behind in search of answers. He experimented with the opposite extreme, asceticism so severe it nearly killed him. Ultimately, he realized that neither indulgence nor deprivation offered a solution to suffering. This realization led him to discover the middle way, a path that avoids extremes and seeks a clear understanding of reality. The second noble truth emerged from this quest. Through deep meditation, Siddhartha identified desire, or tanha, as the root of suffering. Often translated as craving or attachment, tanha goes beyond mere wanting. It describes a compulsive yearning to grasp or avoid things, believing they hold the key to our happiness. The second noble truth outlines three primary types of desire: the desire for sensual pleasure, the desire for existence or becoming, and the desire for non-existence or avoidance. While these may sound abstract, they manifest in almost every aspect of our lives. Desire for sensual pleasure. This is the easiest to recognize. It's the craving for food, sex, material comfort, or anything that brings immediate gratification. Modern society heavily promotes this type of desire. Advertisements constantly promise happiness through products and experiences. Yet, as the Buddha observed, sensual pleasure is fleeting. Once satisfied, it quickly gives way to new cravings, trapping us in an endless cycle of pursuit and disappointment. Think, for example, of the thrill of buying a new phone. For a moment, you feel fulfilled. But soon after, a newer model is released, and the dissatisfaction returns. Desire for existence. This type of craving relates to ego, identity, and the drive for recognition. It often manifests in ambitions for career success, social status, or even the quest for online followers. While this desire can motivate us to achieve great things, it can also lead to a persistent sense of inadequacy, especially when we compare ourselves to others. Existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre explored similar themes, noting that the human struggle to create meaning in life can be both a source of freedom and a burden of anguish. Desire for non-existence. This is perhaps the hardest to identify. It reveals itself in avoidance behaviors like procrastination, addictions, or even destructive thoughts. It's the urge to escape discomfort or pain, which paradoxically often deepens our suffering. Modern psychology also recognizes avoidance as a key factor in disorders like anxiety and depression. The Buddha taught that these cravings not only cause suffering, but also perpetuate the cycle of samsara, or rebirth. For those who don't subscribe to the idea of reincarnation, this cycle can be understood metaphorically. How often do we find ourselves trapped in repetitive patterns, chasing desires that never seem to satisfy? When compared to other philosophies, Stoicism offers an intriguing parallel. While Buddhism advises recognizing and releasing desires, Stoics like Seneca and Epictetus encourage focusing only on what is within our control and accepting the rest with equanimity. Both perspectives emphasize that true freedom comes from mastering our impulses rather than being ruled by them. The second noble truth isn't just a theory about suffering. It's a call to transformation. Buddhism offers practical tools to address craving and attachment, such as meditation, mindfulness, and an ethics grounded in compassion. The goal isn't to eliminate all desires, but to cultivate a healthier relationship with them. This means observing our impulses without automatically acting on them, recognizing the impermanence of all things, and finding contentment in the present moment. In today's fast-paced world, these practices are more relevant than ever. We are constantly bombarded with messages urging us to want more, achieve more, and be more. By adopting a Buddhist perspective, we can start to question this frenetic pace and carve out space for reflection and balance. For example, when a desire arises, whether it's the urge to buy something, gain recognition, or avoid discomfort, we can pause and ask, why do I want this? Is this desire rooted in a genuine need or an illusion? What am I hoping to achieve? This habit of self-inquiry, combined with meditation, can help us break free from automatic behaviors and gain greater clarity and freedom. Ultimately, the second noble truth reminds us that suffering is not an unavoidable fate. By understanding its roots, we have the opportunity to transform it. This doesn't mean we'll never experience pain or dissatisfaction, but it does mean we can learn to navigate these experiences with wisdom and compassion for ourselves and others. By integrating these teachings into our lives, we can begin to break free from the endless pursuit of something outside ourselves. We discover that true happiness doesn't come from satisfying every craving, but from cultivating a calm mind and an open heart. As the Buddha himself taught, the peace we seek isn't somewhere far away. It's here, now, waiting to be realized. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see a continuation covering the other truths taught by Buddha, let us know in the comments and leave a like.